This is funny because it's hard for me to readjust from that crack session y'all was in.
Yeah, no. If only the public was just privy to the roast session that just happened. You know what I mean? Just crazy.
Here all night.
Trey got all the smoke today. Zoe was scoring some points
I'm
too.
feeling myself. Oh yeah. He had some counters.
No, it was some good jabs by both, man. If we had to equate it to the fight that happened last night between Wilder and Fury, I feel like I'm a judge and say that I feel like Zoe was Fury in this one a little bit.
Oh, you giving him Fury, huh? Okay.
Yeah. But you fought valiantly, like Wilder did. Wilder fought valiantly. He didn't embarrass himself. You know what I mean?
So all rematches is welcome. All rematches is welcome. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
That is funny as hell. But we came here for a specific reason. We wanted to have a discussion. As we're looking at this world just spiral out of control. You know, everything is going on. Fires in places they shouldn't be. Fires in Siberia. Internment camps for people who haven't been liquid indoctrinated in Australia. We got crazy government policies going on here. Earthquakes. Brazil, they experienced a couple of just ice storms out of the blue this past summer. And the list goes on and on. But more than anything, we're starting to notice that the supply chain is drying up. Not because there's not anything, but workers, there are ships that are stuck at the docks, a lack of truck drivers, just a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. We're seeing used car prices being sold for the price of new cars. It's a whole bunch of stuff going on out here in the world. We see the infrastructure going to crap. You know, Biden had to put together like a $3.2 trillion package just to address the infrastructure of this country. And so with that being said, we wanted to have a discussion on how to get ready for the chaos that is imminent, that is going to ensue. You know, we see the money is getting hyperinflated. Things are costing more at the grocery stores. A lot of places around the country are seeing empty shelves. And so just wanted to have a discussion with you men about your process of getting ready for the chaos that's about to engulf us all. Go in, Warheads.
Well, if I had to say, you know, at least some of the points that come into mind for me when I think about any impending kind of apocalypse situation or something like that. But first of all, like I would galvanize the troops. First of all, you know, you want to gather the family, have discussions with the family about how to treat the situation, exactly the measures that you're going to be taking during these particular situations. So first, make sure that everybody in the family at least knows the plan, you know, so have a plan laid out, discuss that plan with family. And, you know, you want to practice those measures, you know, if you can. If we're talking about, let's just say that we're thrown in a situation where you're not able to kind of barricade yourself in the house, you know, and you have to be out and about, you know, or you have to escape quickly out of your safe hole for whatever reason. So yeah, talking to the family, talking to the kids, having your plan laid out. Now, what exactly that plan is going to entail is going to depend, just given, you know, everybody's individual situation. But I think for me, I just switched out with just laying out the plan, and I guess you guys can lay out exactly what that plan is going to look like, I guess. But that's kind of what I want to say about that.
Yeah. Well, I guess the plan depends on what your family dynamic looks like first and foremost. But one of the things that would come to mind for me, um, I always think of, well, it's really just me over here, but I do have other extended family members that I care for. And
Mm,
so I just try to prepare enough for not just me, but for them too
right.
in the event of a fall. I know Roscoe, you and I, we live by ourselves as true bachelors,
Mm,
but I know Zoe and Trey have other people under their that they be responsible for. So I
right.
think the layout is going to be different depending on what your household looks like, and I'll get into that a little bit more later because relationships need to be solid too at this time.
Right.
You know, I won't get too much into that, but I also want to talk about just things that you should have in your home. I know we were talking off camera, and so you brought up a good point about how the fall would look. So let's have a discussion on that first and foremost before we even get into the items.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it would it all falls down to how it kind of falls over because it could fall over where there's groups of people coming through and evacuating houses and evicting you and taking you, elsewhere, or it could be like you have to stand and fight. So that's where you kind of have to figure out which way you're going to go. Is it going to be like Walking Dead, where they were like walking all around trying to find a place, or are you going to stay in? And you can't stay in your place for too long either, because you can't fortify. You can't fortify it for too long, especially if you're fighting the government. They got bigger guns and bigger things. So I don't know. I mean, I think you should get a radio. Number one, like a ham radio, batteries, and other supplies like canned food, something you can supply and sustain off of. But I mean, you're gonna have to learn how to scavenge. I mean, you're gonna have to adapt. It's not gonna be easy. And the way that we've been living life, like in America, I mean, it's kind of like a first world problem because you go to other countries and they know how to take care of themselves if they don't have what they have. But we're privileged in a way that we really don't have to worry about that because we've had such a big military behind us for so long. And nobody's ever had to really think about it. People do hunting for fun, and now you're gonna have to do it to live. So there's gonna be a lot of people that cancel each other out because they're not ready or they're not prepared enough. I mean, you have to look at that. That's a big thing that's going to take a lot of people out, and then it's going to make a lot of people out robbing a lot of other people just because they don't have. There's going to be a lot of Negans in the world.
Oh yeah.
A lot of
and then so you and number one, and you have to have a way to protect yourself. You have to have a gun. And
I agree.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably need more than a
Yeah, in a way, what Zoe said.
Go ahead, Trey. I'm sorry.
Yeah. To piggyback off of what Zoe said, it depends if it's more of a apocalyptic type situation or a government type situation. And it's point of view of a government type of situation, you got to rally the troops. You got to get resources, as in people, that could get you places. In a apocalyptic type of way of zombie type shit, yeah, ammunition, exactly, like that, what you just showed. That right there. Close to a water source, things like that. The only thing I would say is I probably would try to fortify, you know what I mean? If it's like zombie type end of the world type shit. But yeah, you gotta have stuff like that, batteries, just making sure your family's safe. My number one objective is keeping my family safe. You know what I mean? But sometimes you gotta connect with people and don't know if you can trust them or not during certain situations, but you got to take that jump sometimes during a situation like that. But yeah, man, you just got to have a lot of resources, as in stuff to survive, antibiotics, pills, things like that. And Yeah,
Clean water.
and shells, guns, and shit like that. Because it gets crazy. It gets crazy as hell. You got that to defend yourself, and that goes for both points too. You know what I mean? For the government and for for zombie type style end of the world stuff. So yeah, that would be probably on top of my list. Antibiotics and things like that is quick to get an infection now because there's no hospitals open to just go and get yourself checked out. So, of course, water, fire, you need to have stuff to start a fire, things like that. It's like going back to regular civilization, back to one and shit, if it ends up being anarchy here.
I just want to say, no, I'm sorry, Trey. I ain't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I just.
Oh no, go ahead.
I just wanted to point out, actually how close we are to some of these times that we're describing right now. You know what I mean? When you talk about we're actually living in times where people are being turned away from clinics and stuff like that. People are being turned away from public places and stuff like that. So we are living in times where people have, for whatever reason, decided to distance themselves away from other people. Could it be part of the contagion? Could it be part of just I don't trust people? People are gathering more resources, especially ever since we've been in the midst of the pandemic and all of that. We've seen people lose their mind in a race for resources.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So the toilet paper thing was just crazy. When you just to think about that situation alone, not to mention some of the other things that came afterwards, but just that alone, when you think about how fast that mad scramble was happening, just think about how quickly the fall of civilization will happen. You know what I mean? And how fast fear was spread if a chaotic situation either way was to happen. You know what I mean? So those are the things I think about, is just how close we are actually to these type of times.
Right, I agree. And I just want to share something with y'all.
Yeah.
I want to share something with y'all before we get into the other parts of the discussion, because I have an item. I have a lot of items actually, but it's one item in particular that I think is gonna be very, very good for a lot of people. I have this flashlight. I know y'all can't see it that good, but let me just share something with y'all real quick. It's one of these solar powered flashlights, and these bad boys are the truth. These are the truth for real. They come with a compass in the bottom. A lot of times you get displaced and you don't know where the heck you are. This bad boy is waterproof, comes with a magnet on the back, has a skull crusher, and you can break windows with this thing. Has a razor on the backside where you can cut things, items, and it's not only just a flashlight; it's also a
strobe light.
Yeah, it's a strobe light.
Man, that thing powerful.
It's a beacon. It's a siren.
Oh, that's nice.
God damn. That's a little jack of all trades right there.
Hey, dude,
that's what's on me nights to flashlight.
Right.
Wait. But this is the cool part. Even if the grid goes down, you know how you got all that music stored on your phone from over the years. It's solar powered, and it has a USB charger for either
Jesus Christ,
an Android or an iPhone.
Oh wow.
So even if you can't talk, you can still listen to your tunes.
Yeah, no. Who needs a Wilson when you have that? You know what I mean? If you trapped on the island, man, forget about Wilson. You need that thing.
Yeah, that shit is right.
This bad boy is very
That
right.
is nice.
I would suggest you all invest in one. It was only like $20 on Amazon. It may be a little bit higher. I've had mine for over a year, but the charge stays in here forever. I've charged this thing once since I've had it, and it's still just as powerful as day one. And so I just wanted to put that out there, just for one of those small things. We'll talk about some other things as we go forward. But as far as plans are concerned, Zoe, you made some good points about how the government might come. But I was also thinking along the lines of just rogue individuals within the community. I always think about how, when this dollar does collapse, because we do see it inflating more and more every day, the stock market is pretty much plateaued at this point. So we can almost expect a correction on across the board. We know that there's like a student loan crisis going on out here. The mortgage crisis is going on because these homes from coast to coast are overvalued, and the average person can't even afford them. It's mostly investment groups that are buying homes, and if people aren't moving into those homes, that just creates another housing bubble. It's getting to the point where the average man can't even afford to buy a house. We also can look at the fact that the credit card debt is out of control. People are underwater with car loans. There's so many indicators in the system. Even banks have been doing like stress tests, and they've been failing from coast to coast. Even in China, the banks are failing. There's a whole lot of stuff going on, and we know why that's problematic is because China makes everything we got pretty much. Most of the things we get come from overseas, like even with the semiconductor shortage that we're experiencing, where GM had to shut down like about 10 of their plants.
But that's because the chips are in Taiwan, and China wants to take over Taiwan.
Right. And that was the point I was going to make. There's probably going to be a hostile takeover. And once that happens,
that's going to be the end. That's going to be World War III. When that starts, like a lot of people don't realize that, but that's what's going to unfold everything.
I love it when you take the words out of my mouth. But yes, the semiconductor, because semiconductors power everything, our computers, our cell phones, these vehicles, our cars. Like I always look at how after the Cuban Missile Crisis, how America put Cuba under sanctions and how they were able to maintain their vehicles, even though these were vehicles from like the 50s and the 60s and whatnot. They were still able to maintain their vehicles with technology that they already had. They didn't need any computer chips or whatever the case may be. But the new cars that are coming off, I had a mechanic tell me last week because I was getting tires for my car. He said he won't even buy a car after 2010 because they're so dependent upon technology. A EMP, an electronic pulse missile, can take out every vehicle pretty much that people are relying upon now. And so that's why it's important to get prepared. Like we really should get bikes and chain oil, to be able to navigate through the city. They're kind of quiet, they're not loud, like no engine. But I don't want to take too much time. I want y'all to say what's y'all's process, or are you preparing? Are any of you guys prepping? Do you all have a bug out bag? The people want to know. Let me shut up.
You can go ahead, Trey.
Shit. Yeah. I sort of got a plan a little bit. Shit, not that much plan, but shit, I have to ride the waves or something, man. We got to just see how it all plays out. I can't really prepare for something that ain't happening yet. Nobody, I don't think, can really prepare for what might happen if it ends up being like World War III or something like that. It all goes back to just living your everyday life to me until it happens, to be honest.
Wait.
So
let
that's
me
how I feel about it.
let me interject real quick because I know how you can prepare. At least one thing. You know the movie A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with A Quiet
Yeah.
Place?
Yeah. The monsters where you got to be quiet.
Right. You know how the wife, the mom, she's running around with this baby in this airtight cage. She got to get oxygen. Get you some contraceptions and some spermicide. The last thing you need is to be trying to run around with a damn baby.
No, for real. Hey, you wait till you're in the clear and shit's starting to get better. Then you start to repopulate. You don't need to be repopulating while you're running.
And that's how you can prepare. Prepare for no.
Why it's wartime. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they you definitely want to temper having sex. Like that's the one thing, you know, when I look at when you see movies that you see that happening in movies and you always like that wouldn't happen in real life. Like who has time for that right now? But man, art imitates life and the other way around. And so you gonna have some a-holes who think even while we in the midst of calamity that we got time to do some foolishness, and it's just like, no, we probably need to put that off until we sure that we gonna make it, till 2023. You know what I mean? Like let's make sure we there first.
Either that or hit a Walgreens up and jack them for a gang of Plan B pills. But eventually those even run out.
Yeah, but man. But if you're on the run, man, you're gonna be dirty. You can't take a shower everywhere, but you can't take a shower everywhere, so it's gonna be unhygienic for a lot of people. I mean,
do that shit at the beginning of the time. Still produce during war.
Me myself, man, I'm gonna be completely honest. Like I don't have a bug out bag. You know what I mean? And I'm actually one of those people. And it's a bad thing, and that's why I'm glad we're doing this show because the more that I listen, the more that we go through these days and times that we're going through, and we've been through a lot of all of us have been alive long enough to see the world go through some crazy stuff. And you'll think like, man, I never thought that I would live to see that. And I'm glad that, some things have actually touched, close to where we are. Some things have happened in the United States, but for the most part, a lot of these crazy calamities they happen away from us. You know what I mean? So in our minds, as Americans, and I fall under this myself. You know what I mean? I think Zoe was alluding to saying this earlier about how we have all this protection and all this privilege that we have. So we don't think about being prepared, a lot of us, and especially like with in the poor communities. I know that the people who in the more affluent communities, those people are being prepared. Those people are taking the fear mongering and running with this stuff. So and I've been with a lot of my buddies who are avid. They go to the gun ranges all the time, and a lot of my buddies who just got all this weaponry and been shopping with for bullets and all this, and the stores is empty.
Well, there's a shortage on ammo too.
People have been prepping themselves for quite a while. Not just the weaponry, but just all of the resources. People are really securing themselves. So, when I think about that type of stuff, and again, like I said about just trying to get myself prepared for that stuff, and these times are actually going to really affect us because it has started to become that way now. So yeah, I think for me in the future, I think I will start like taking some real precautions and really like kind of especially with that goddamn flashlight, that solar light that that
everybody's getting one for Christmas.
Yeah, no. I think we all should have one of those. The only thing that thing ain't doing is reproducing kids. So
I didn't even turn on the siren.
Oh no.
It has a siren on here, believe it or not, like a distress siren if you ever get in trouble.
If you get lost, yeah. Oh yeah.
I know one thing. If that thing is on camera for any more longer, they better start paying us.
Yeah. free publicity, free ad.
Yeah.
Free advertising.
Well, see, I didn't give a brand.
No, that's what I was just
No. He
I was just going to say that. That's all we stopping short at is giving the brand name.
This is Joey's life.
Right. We gonna make our own Warhead version of that thing.
You know what? That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. No.
If we can get the Chinaman to get us some of these in bulk.
See, we gonna get canceled just because you called them.
Hey. But see, that's the thing. They don't take offense to that. It's other people that get offended by that.
Yeah.
So I mean, whatever. But like back what I was gonna say was like, I think people need to bring it back to the basics. Like most, I mean, even though I don't eat seafood, but like fishing, like I might have to in this shit. Like you're gonna have to learn how to live off the land, and that's why like. The government and the media and all this has been pushing people to a certain way of living that dumbs us down to not being sustainable by ourselves. Like hardly anybody could live on their own if they had to live by the land.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because now I want to share just a list of different things that we can get and be prepared. And so I'm going to just go down this list and we can finish the conversation. This is just what I wrote down that you can have for home and things that you can put in a bug out bag. But I have canned food, of course, solar generator. Somebody's TV is loud. I hear us on the background.
No, that's you in the
But
background.
how much canned food could you have though?
Well,
Because that could weigh you down too.
If
Emergency situation.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, if you're fortified, all right.
Right. Most people say that if you're gonna prepare, just prepare for like the first 24 to 48 hours. Because like Zoe was saying, you may be forced out of your home, but you may have to bunker down for quite some time. And so like they always say, if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. It's as simple as that. But solar generators, they have solar generators now, solar flashlights like the one I showed. First aid kits, they have portable ones, they have bigger ones that you can keep in a closet. Dental floss. You want to keep your dental health. The last thing you want to do is be out here on the run and you can't even take care of your teeth. Toenail clippers. Aluminum foil. People don't even realize like with aluminum foil, you can cook inside and outside of the home.
Yeah.
Baby supplies for those who have babies. Like even if you don't have babies and you live in a community where you know there's babies can be a good bartering tool. You can barter with baby supplies. Baking soda. People don't know this, but baking soda and water actually helps you alkaline your body. So if you're trying to get healthy, drinking a little bit of baking soda with your water can help you keep your body strong. Batteries. I know Zoe bought that up earlier. I bought up bikes. If you're hunkered down, board games, you know, the last thing you want to do is be in a home with nothing to do. Board games and books are always good. Bug spray, glass jars to store things in.
Yeah, to learn how to pickle.
Right. Heirloom seeds. The reason why heirloom seeds are so good is because they last for so long. And you always want to get something that has some type of longevity that you can take with you. We talked about condoms and spermicide. We don't need no babies in the apocalypse. Deodorant, water purification tablets and filters. Have an extra pair of eyeglasses. Roscoe.
I'm gonna be ready, nigga.
Feminine hygiene products.
It's gonna be tight if you don't.
A fire extinguisher, fishing wire that lends to what you were saying, Zoe. Trash bags for storage. You know, you can also use them to keep as raincoats if you don't have one. Different
And
types of
also, you
gloves.
could collect rain with that too,
Yes,
Yeah.
with the trash bags. Yeah.
and
And one thing, medicines, antibiotics, man. I can't stress that enough. Probably, guys and all that.
yes,
Because even like a minor scrape could cause, something serious.
you're absolutely right. Antibiotics, ointments, to clean out wounds. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. Different kinds of gloves, because you never know. It might come in winter, but you also might need some of these surgical gloves as well. Hats, skull caps, and regular ball caps. You don't want to be out in the elements without something to protect your head from either the scorching sun or the cold. Soap is always essential. Spices and condiments, for your food. Steel wool. Steel wool is good. Like if you're in a hold up in a place, you can use it to plug up holes to keep rats and mice away. Rat poison to protect your food, because we don't know what's going to happen.
And you
We
got a
know,
list. Ooh,
right? I do have a list. Vaseline. You want to have Vaseline. Vaseline is a good preservative. It preserves the skin. It's just good overall to have. Multivitamins, zip ties. The list goes on. This is just the beginning, because we're talking about, at the end of the day, getting ready for chaos.
Yeah, you ain't gonna want to need it or want to have to go get it if you need it. Like that's just the bottom line.
right.
Exactly.
Hey, well, you just gave me an idea. Maybe I would want to fortify a grocery store or something, because it seemed like most of the things you said on there would be there.
You could, but you have to have like volumes of people to fortify a bigger place, because you have all these exits and all these entrances. I mean, and then you have to have runners that go. I mean, it's basically Walking Dead. Like you have to have runners that go into the city to find stuff, keep your supply up. And that's another thing is a lot of people like you don't like you stress antibiotics, but stressing
that's good for the first 48 hours.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is people need to like be more fruitful this holiday season. Don't go out and spend all this money, because it ideally could just crash, and you're just wasting all this money that you could have prepared with. You don't have to go out there and spend all this money on something that may just fall in a couple. I mean, because to be real, China can only attack Taiwan like 4 times a year. It's certain times that they can, and October is one of them. So it could fall before Christmas.
They always talk about the October surprise.
Yeah.
And this is only the 10th day. It could deal with the stock market. It could deal with some other major event going on. But stay tuned. But I'm glad you guys were talking about running, because that was the last thing on my list. To get rid of toxic people now. I know a lot of times we keep toxic individuals in our circle.
Just getting ready to say.
Well, go ahead and say it, cuz. You see, Kanada jumped in late.
Hey, Kanada.
Hi, Roscoe.
What up?
What's up, Zoe? And I don't know Trey, but hi. Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Just said, cousin, about the people who you have in your life. Whether it's gonna be your girlfriend, I don't know, but some people are not gonna fall in line with this preparation mentally, spiritually, financially, and they're not gonna fall in line. I mean, I was in a roommate situation, and I'm trying to buy water and buy, extra paper towels, toilet paper, just as necessities of the things that we lost when we immediately went into the COVID pandemic. I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna say Dovic. I'm not gonna say COVID because I don't want to get.
Pyramid
yeah. So when that happened, I'm trying to buy things in the house, stock up, and it's just being used. I'm like, they don't even understand what I'm trying to do here. I'm buying water, like 6 packs of water, like every time I go to the store, and it's like it's getting drank, toilet paper, paper towels. And so then when it was starting to dwindle down just a little bit, because we're not out of it anyway, we're just transitioning into a food crisis. That's what's getting ready to happen because they got a lot of the food in reserve. It's not that it's not there. It's just that we can't see it, you know, because they're removing it from the shelves because everything is all in front of the shelves on the front and everything in the back is just a big old, you know, empty space. So, you know, they have, you know, they've been talking about, well, you only can buy one paper towel, one toilet paper. So they stopped that for a minute. But then I went to the store a few weeks ago and they're starting it again, like Walmart and Sam's Club and Costco, saying that you can only buy one pack of paper towels, one pack of toilet paper and things like that. So, you know, it's starting to resurface, you know, because remember the president said, get, you know, a cold or dark winter is coming. He's not just saying these things just to say them. And I think a lot of us don't understand the symbolism or the, you know, the messages that they send out while they're talking to you. It's like, this man just said a dark winter is coming, you know? So
let's go, Brandon.
Yeah. So yeah, you do have to watch who you with because people they don't want to do this. They don't want to, they're not even thinking. They're thinking about the next club they're getting ready to go to, the next flight, their next trip they're getting ready to take. A lot of people took the jab because they want to travel. They're not even researching, don't know what's in the jab, none of that. They just don't care. You know, they just worried about their current livelihood, not realizing that there's a shift taking place, a paradigm shift that's taking place, and it's already been happening. People say, well, the new world order is coming. No, the new world order has been here. It's just we're just going through the phases, you know, and a lot of the movies that they put out, like Enemy of the State, you say, well, what do we do? How do we go? Or how do we prepare? Well, I like Enemy of the State, that movie with Gene Hackman and Will Smith, when, you know, he was living somewhere away off the grid. You know, I don't even know if that's possible. I don't even have that span of knowledge of technology like that, but I wish I did. Find a place in the woods somewhere, dig up a hole, I don't know, you know, and go prepare, you know, because if you living in the city, you already doomed. The city is the worst place to be when all this stuff goes down. So
no, I just want to say something about like what you were saying, Kanai, about how you know, everybody in the household needs to be in tune with the plan. That's something that I was saying earlier, you know. So that's probably what happened in the situation with you, or what you need to do going forward is probably just share the plan with everybody going forward, you know. So
I do. I mean, I've been talking about this. I was at work talking about this before it happened. You know, I'm always, because I have not just been in this mindset now. I've always been in this mindset since I was 17 years old. The first book that I read that rocked my whole world was Pale White Horse by Bill Cooper. I mean, I've always had this kind of knowledge. I understand what the government does. I understand their agendas. I understand their tactics. I understand what they do. A lot of us are so sleep and so, you know, I don't know what pill everybody taking, but a lot of us
blue pills.
Yeah, I don't know what pill it is to sleep, but you know, a lot of us are so caught up, you know, in Babylon, if you will, that
my light is red.
They don't even. I'm sorry, I don't see the light. Go ahead.
No, I said, you asked what kind of pills people are taking. I said blue pills. It was a Matrix reference. I said that's why my light is red.
Yeah. See, yeah. So a lot of us we're not as awake as a lot of us think we are. You have to totally unplug. And that was one thing in the Matrix that I understood, how Neo, you know, he was unplugging to become the one. You know what I mean? You know, basically self-awareness or be aware of what's going on around you, or else you either an agent or you either the one. You either the one that know the truth. You're either the one that your eyes are open. You either the one that have some knowledge about what's going on beyond what they telling you on CNN, ESPN, ABC, and DSD. I don't know. You have to go beyond what they're saying, because these are the people that's keeping you asleep. It's a programming. That's why they call it programming in a channel.
The world is a show, man.
They got you under a spell. You got to come
out the stage.
You got to come out the spell.
What you say, Zoe?
I said the world is a stage, man.
There you go. There you go, Zoe. That's my favorite. That's my favorite saying. Yeah, world is
It's
a stage.
crazy. I don't know. I don't see how people can't see it, but there's a lot of people that ain't, man. And it's. I mean, that's not. We can do as much as we can to bring, but it has to be a person's choice to start thinking that way. You
Yeah,
have to want it.
yeah,
You do.
they don't call it political theater for nothing. But just to kind of harken back to some of our previous shows where we're always going in on relationship. You know, the key word in relationship is relate. How do you relate to someone? If you have any type of love for yourself, you will get rid of people who undermine your relationship. They
Yeah.
gotta go. A lot of times you think you love that person. You don't love that person. You can't love somebody who betrays you, who lies to you. Those are called betrayal bonds. It's the
Or lust.
betrayal that bonds you to that individual. But you from Robert Greene's book, 48 Laws of Power, stay away from people who are unlucky. You know, a lot of times those individuals are bringing the unluck upon themselves because they don't have any common sense. You know, they're nice around you, but they don't think things through when they're out in the world. Stay away from people who have a sob story. You want to be around people who are happy, who know how to create happiness.
Yeah.
Their energy from inside of them emanates out into the world. Those are the type of people you need to be gravitating to. And here's the thing about it. There aren't many people like that. So you might have to do the work to become that type of individual on your own so that you can be alone and not have somebody who's going to look for every opportunity to sink your ship, which is your household, when they see fit. Y'all got any parting words? Because we have 40 minutes.
No, I just want to piggyback off what you said. Just in a small retort, I guess. Yeah, no Debbie Downers. We don't need that. You know. Yeah, we need as much optimism and hope, and those type of times as possible. So. Yeah, no, and I just think that when you're going through like some of the worst situations, I think it's imperative. For me, I've always been in the mindset that when things are at its worst, you need to be kind of at your optimum as far as your optimism goes, your hope goes, how you project that, depending on if you're around other people. You know what I mean? Because if you're projecting despair, then imagine, like, how is it? Everybody else is going to follow that lead, pretty much. You know what I mean? So, and that's what happens in our world. You know what I mean? It doesn't take much. We've all seen. It could be any random comedian because a lot of them have had this type of joke. But when you see people running past you, you're gonna automatically start running. You don't know what they running for, but if they running, I'm running, and we'll figure it out later. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, so yeah, no, it's just good to be in good spirits while these situations are going crazy, but Trey, I don't know if you had something you wanted to say. You
But
go
no,
ahead.
I keep it short with mine. I like to say that the government, like to keep people divided. You know what I mean? Because it's easier for them to control when you divide it and nobody wants to work together. I would just say, man, if this do happen, if something does happen in the future now, near future, that we need to stick together. Motherfuckers need to put the bull stuff aside and come together. And together, I think we'll have a better chance at whatever we'll be facing. That's all I pretty much had to say about that. Just don't let them divide us. And stick together, get through our differences, no matter who you are, what race you is. To go down, got to stick together. Just like I don't know, maybe off topic, but I feel like let's say if it's some World War III type, and the government has to fight this, I think me personally have a certain objection that in a one part of feeling like I getting treated the same way as other counterparts in my country. So like, will we really want to, go out there and fight that war and all that, even though we'll be coming back just like our, some of our peoples that were soldiers came back and got treated the same way, had to go back into segregation and things like that. So I feel, a lot of that money too needs to be going into, I don't want to say reparations, but investing into, urban communities and things like that. In order, to better ourselves and get ourselves together and to show that, that we are trying to work together and things like that. Because America is great, man. This is a great nation. We one of the greatest nations out here, but we do got some inside work, that we got to figure out. And the only way is to, acknowledge what's really going on and move on from there. But back to what I was saying, just don't let motherfuckers divide us and shit like that. And before I fight a war, I want to know when I come back home, we all truly gonna be treated equally. That's it.
Wait. Well, we're at 45 minutes. So we got to get up out of here. But I will say this before we depart. We didn't start the fire.
Last word again.
It was always burning since the world's been turning. Like, comment, subscribe.
Let's go, Brandon.
Warheads out.
So you silly, man.